Hey everybody, my name is Casey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be doing a speed build and the area we are going to be working on is Callie's house. I have her in the back of my island. I'm going to do kind of like a little sunken area, and then I want to be able to have a nice view from this incline back here. So as you can see, we have little Callie just out and about waiting for us to start the speed build. So I'm going to go ahead and start up the Island Designer app and start decorating. So Callie is one of my favorite villagers, so I wanted to give her a really special yard and do a lot of terraforming around the outside of her house. So right here I am just doing some terraforming, and I want to be able to have a bunch of waterfalls back here. So I am just going to be working on getting the shape of the cliffs how I want them. So I'm just kind of playing around with the terraforming here. I am a little bit particular about how I like the cliff shape to be because I want the waterfalls to be a certain shape. So that's why I'm kind of extending this cliff out here and then building the second level up a little more, because I want there to be some more like single lane waterfalls. And then of course I am just rounding all of the cliff edges. And then since the second level cliff is only 2 by 2, I just needed to extend it a bit more in order to be able to make one of these little waterfalls like that. And then we have Ozzy's house up here, so he's gonna just be getting some of the benefits of this speed build because it'll be kind of reaching into his area a little bit. And then I know I want to give Callie like a little seating area or picnic area. I'm hoping that this will come together, but of course she just sits down right there, right in front of where I'm working. But I'm going to test out this kind of like orange and yellow quilt right here and try some different items on top of it. And then I accidentally talked to Callie, so that's going to be fun with her just right there, right in my way. But it's okay, her big rosy cheeks make up for it because she is so adorable. I also just wanted to ask you all a question. I was thinking about doing some more island tours, but I was wondering if you had any island themes that you would be interested in seeing. So feel free to leave a comment below if you're interested in seeing any type of different island themes. But right here, I just needed to stop and talk to Daisy May and get some turnips because I am going to be moving around a bunch of trees for this speed build, and then I'm just opening up this cliff a little bit more right here because I am going to need some more space on this lower level. So as I'm kind of working on this area right here and playing around with some different furniture, I don't really like this orange and yellow blanket right here. So I'm just trying to swap it out with this yellow one and see if that fits a little bit better, and then kind of just changing up the spacing a bit. So as I am placing some items around this, or trying to place some items around the log round table, I just realized that it's not going to work because in order for me to use that item and like how it looks, I need to have seating all around it. And unfortunately, there's just not enough space in this area, so I just end up going with the log extra long sofa. I think that's what it's called. And then I am just going to be trying to figure out what items I want to place around it. And look at Callie just sitting there. She's so cute. I love her so much. But anyways, I know, like I mentioned before, I'm going to use some stunted trees, so I'm just trying to figure out the placement of the trees right here. And I don't like how, like where I have it right now, I don't like how it kind of is cutting off part of the blanket, but I know that I do like how that little paper kite butterfly model looks there. But I end up moving this little tree just one space over so I can have the little blanket fringe on the side there. And then I'm going to just go ahead and place one of these little like flower circle codes on this side of the blanket. I think it adds like a nice layering effect to the blanket. And then I actually decided, you know how I mentioned at the beginning of the build that I wanted this to be a little lookout area? I decided that I am going to make it open, so you don't have to like climb up an incline or anything to get here. You can just kind of walk straight through. So I think it looks a bit nicer. It makes the space look a little bit bigger as well. So that's what I ended up doing, and now I'm just going in and placing some flowers and then playing around with some different items and how I want to place them, because I know I want to have the log sofa there. It's just a matter of figuring out like little end tables and whatnot. So I would say at this point in the build, it's finally starting to kind of come together. As you all know, I do struggle with these smaller areas, but I wind up changing the little fringe on the blanket because I want to go ahead and include this little lace code right here. I just feel like it looks a bit more balanced. And then I am going to go ahead and place down a log chair. I found a really pretty pattern that I think matches really well with the exterior of Callie's house because it has like those green tones in it. And then I am just laying down a couple more items to kind of frame in this area right here. I also am trying to keep the yard decoration for Callie's house in the vintage core aesthetic, so you'll see me using a lot of brown tones and brown codes. I just really thought that kind of theme matched Callie's house the best because I feel like the browns look really good next to the green, so that's why I'm just laying down this new little path that I got recently. I think it's so beautiful. I also just wanted to mention that I will have all of the custom design codes that I'm using for this speed build in the description of the video, so be sure to check those out. So now what I am doing is just placing down some more kind of filler codes and placing down this garden lantern, and then I'm trying to figure out the placement of a couple more stunted trees because I typically like to, when I'm doing a speed build or like a villager's yard, I like to kind of plan out the areas where I'm going to have as like little seating areas, and then I like to go in with the pathing, and then I will do the trees and flowers. It's just what helps me the most, kind of make the whole area eventually come together. And then for this build, I'm also going to be working on a little bit of the cliff tops on each side of her house. I added in this little waterfall here because I felt like if I were to just fill it in with flowers and trees, it would just be like too much of the same thing. So now I'm just trying to find an item to place on top of this mush log. So you'll be seeing me kind of bounce back and forth between decorating Callie's yard and the cliff tops, but I hope that you don't mind this build kind of being in that style. If you're looking for any inspiration for cliff top decorating, I hope that this helps you a little bit. And then for this little seating area, I struggled a bit with choosing a code for right here because it's only like 1 by 2 tiles. So I went up using half of this little lace rug code. I think that ends up looking pretty nice, and so I'm just kind of making a little reading nook right here. And then I am just gonna plant some more flowers and come back and work on the little entrance to her house. So kind of my thought process for this area was I wanted the cliffs to be one space apart so you could still hop over them when you are on the second level right here. I'm honestly just trying to get creative with some of my terraforming in order to save a couple inclines. Although on this island, I believe I'm only at 4 or 5 inclines right now, so I definitely have them if I need to use them, but I just wanted to try something different for this build. I am also just using these log planks. I'm going to be alternating the 2 different log plank codes to give it some like nice texture in this area right here. And so when I finish up this area, I will come back here and start working on the main path codes. So I know I want to use this brick pathing and kind of break it up in this little section right here in front of the little seating area. I'm really happy that I switched back to this pathing because I think it also matches well with the vintage core aesthetic that I am trying to maintain on some areas of my island. And so now I just came back up on top of the cliffs to kind of finish up the waterscaping a bit, and then of course, you know, just had to clear some weeds over here by Ozzy's house. But I do want to have a bunch of kind of windy waterfalls in this area, and then I will be filling it in with some flowers and trees and some little decorations for the cliff top. This build winded up taking a bit more time than I had originally planned, but it's okay because I'm really happy with how it ended up looking when I was finished with it. And honestly, I've never done kind of this type of waterscaping before on an island, so it was really fun to kind of be a bit more creative with the waterscaping. I also just wanted to mention that I did work on this build over a span of a couple days, so if you see any differences with the lighting or time that I'm playing at, it's just because this build took me a little bit of time to finish. So right now I am just working on another little seating area to the left of Callie's house. I found this really pretty circular code that you can use as kind of like a path border. I really love that, and I think that matches really nicely with the whole vibe I'm trying to give Callie for her yard. So once again, I am just kind of messing around with the items and kind of the little end tables. I feel like I struggle sometimes with figuring out the placement of like the main seating item and then the end table I want to use, just because it has to be kind of like the right height. But I think if I move this whole seating area back just even one tile, it will wind up coming together pretty nicely. So I'm just gonna go ahead and lay down this path again and then put together this second little seating area for Callie. And I wanted to use kind of the same colors and custom codes like green, orange, and yellow, because I feel like that looks nice next to the brown path codes. And then I'm just planting some nice and colorful flowers around the path, because I feel like if you have kind of like a neutral colored path, it's okay to kind of go a little bit more colorful with the decorations and flowers you're using to frame the path. And then right here, I'm just laying down a green leaf pile on top of that brick path to kind of give it a little texture and pop of color. And then I'm framing in this blanket area here with some more flowers. So to be honest, this speed build that I'm doing for Callie was kind of the first area in a while on my island that I actually liked how it was coming together. It didn't feel like it was too long of a process. It just felt like everything came together really nicely. So that's always a really good feeling. And I think the reason that was because of the kind of neutral colors I was using for the pathing. It kind of let me be able to be a bit more creative with the colors that I was using of the flowers and everything. So now I am just going in and filling in some space on the cliff top right here with some filler codes and some more flowers. I also just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I recently reached over 300 subscribers, so I'm really grateful for everybody who has taken the time to watch my videos and left a comment and subscribe to my channel. It really gives me a lot of hope that YouTube is something that I could potentially do one day as a career, and I am hoping to hit my goal of 1,000 subscribers by August 9th. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I release 2 to 3 videos of island tours and speed builds every week for Animal Crossing New Horizons. I also just wanted to mention that I've been doing like a bunch of research on kind of like YouTube and how it works and whatnot, and I don't know if this interests like anybody else, but I was looking at like my analytics and it said like almost 80% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. So like I know I said that like, you know, I am hopeful about being able to do this full time one day. It's just like, I don't know, that's just really interesting to me. So I'm trying to kind of put out more content while making sure my content, you know, is the same quality as it normally is, because I want to be able to provide a lot of value for you if you do subscribe to my channel, and that's why I do go ahead and put in all of the design codes that I use in my description, because I remember even before I started making videos, I would watch speed builds and island tours, and sometimes the codes wouldn't be in the description, and I would just be like, why? Like, I need that code. It's so perfect for my island. But anyways, that's kind of my goal for my channel, is to provide you guys with more value, because I know for me personally, when I subscribe to someone's channel, it's typically after, you know, I see the content that they make and I enjoy that content and I see how hard they work on it. So that's essentially what I'm trying to do for my channel, is give you guys more than, how can I word it, like more than a subscription, would be, I don't want to say like be worth, but I hope I'm explaining this okay. Like I just want to be able to provide a lot of helpful tips and codes and answer any questions that anybody may have, because I've definitely, like I mentioned, been on the other side of it, where I've had questions about whether it's codes or how someone did something, and I've asked and I've just not gotten a response. So that's another goal for my channel. I want to be able to help the amazing Animal Crossing community as much as I can. So that's, why I just am hoping that I'm providing some value for you all and that you're enjoying my videos. And definitely, like, if you have any feedback you want to leave, as long as it's, obviously like constructive and not just like, really harsh, feel free to let me know. I'm definitely open to more video ideas, but I do have a lot of fun stuff planned for my channel as well, so be sure to stay tuned. But anyways, kind of transitioning back into the speed build, right now I am just working on filling in the last couple little areas. I'm using these log planks that I absolutely love right here, and then just going in and placing some fencing down to kind of frame the area nicely. So now what I have left to do for this build is just going in and decorating each of these cliff tops right here, and then the cliff top on the back right side of Callie's house. I'm not sure why, but I struggled a bit with figuring out how I wanted to decorate these cliff tops. I think it's because of the small amount of space I had to work with, but it just kind of took some playing around with different items and flowers like I normally do in my builds, and making sure there was a good balance of custom design codes and items, because I've mentioned this before, but I don't like to have too many of the same items right next to each other in a row. I just feel like you can get a nice variety if you're mixing in some items with flowers and bushes and whatnot. So I think this cliff is coming together how I want it. It's just, I gotta figure out the kind of placement of what flowers I want. I actually got some little lily seeds because I like the white lilies a lot. I think it looks really nice in certain areas, so I'm just adding some of those in. And then right here, I think I'm gonna make this like a little seating area. I'm testing out a couple different items right now, but it just doesn't look good right next to each other. So I am just gonna go ahead and swap out this flower for a yellow one, and then I'm gonna place down this little lace kind of rug coat, and then put a hammock right there. I feel like that looks a bit better than having a bunch of items kind of right next to each other, and that's just kind of bouncing off of what I was saying earlier about not having too many of the same items next to each other. Even right there, I swapped out that pink hyacinth for yellow cosmo because it was just too much pink in that area. And then I'm going to move this hardwood tree back here and then place a little stunted one there. I just feel like that looks a bit nicer. And I'm not sure why, but I really struggled with decorating this cliff top. I think I just had like I was doing too big of a build all at once, so that's why you see me swapping in and out a bunch of different flowers and items. So after I place down this log stool right here, I'm just going to go ahead and hop back over and work on some of the cliffs behind Callie's house. I want to place these wind turbines down here because I like the height that it gives to the area. I want to make sure that I have them staggered so you can kind of see them from like when you're looking down at it. It just looks nicer when they're a bit staggered. And then I do want to be able to have this waterfall kind of going through the edge of the cliff here, so I'm just trying to figure out the shape of that and how I can have the wind turbine fit in here. So now that I have the wind turbines placed and the waterscaping how I wanted it to be originally, I'm just going back in and filling in this area with some more bushes and flowers, and then I'm going to go ahead and come back down here and work on the rest of this little path right here. I'm going to make it so these log planks kind of go around this cliff so you know that you can get all the way through this area right here. So right now I'm just going to lay down one of these plank codes and then hop back over here. I of course have my pockets full, so I'm going to just plant a couple flowers, and then once again pockets are full. I should have emptied them, but it's okay. I just need to get rid of a couple more flowers out of my pockets, and then I'm going to go ahead and start this log plank path that I had just mentioned earlier. And so I want it to be like a area where you know that you can walk through and hop over these two little cliffs right here. So now that I have some of the log planks down, I just am going to go ahead and go in and add in some more fiddler codes, and then I'm actually going to swap out some of the flowers and add in some fencing just to kind of break up the area a little bit more. And then I'm going to keep using these plank codes, and I'm going to make sure that I am alternating them. I really like how the log plank codes I have, the one that's like 6 spaces, they're curved. I really love that. I haven't used a plank code like that before on any of my islands, but I just like how it gives it the kind of that like natural kind of foresty shape in area, kind of like you're walking through like a secret little forest trail. So now that I have the right side all taken care of, I of course have my pockets full again, so I am going to just go ahead and plant some more flowers alongside this cliff edge, and then I can go ahead and continue on this plank pathing through this side of the cliff. And then now that I have most of the areas on each side of the planks kind of decorated with items how I wanted it, I really just need to go in and fill in this little cliff top right here and lay down some more pathing and decorate the edge of the cliff with some more flowers and bushes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plant a couple more flowers, and then go ahead and plant a cedar tree over here. And then look at little Henry, he is so cute. And as I'm laying down this path, he just comes over and just sits, or not sits, lay down in that hammock, and that is just so adorable. So I had to take a little picture of that. But anyways, back to the build. I am just trying to figure out how I want to lay down the pathing for this area right here. I actually wind up going back to storage and getting some more items, because I find whenever I'm doing big builds like this, I run out of items a lot, and sometimes I just forget to go back to storage and get some more. But anyways, we got my pockets all filled up again, and then I'm gonna have this plank path leading down this way, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just place down some filler codes, and I wanna have that brick pathing that I used fill in the majority of this area right here. It's just like the perfect path for smaller spaces like this. So that is just what I'm doing right now. So as I'm laying down this pathing right here, I'm realizing that I may have a little bit of a problem with this brick path and how it kind of leads into that log plank path. I don't typically like to have custom designs like right next to each other, kind of like the bottom part of this brick path and how the log plank path leads right up to the end of it. So I'm just kind of playing around with the spacing and trying to make this log plank path curve a little bit more. And so I'm also going to plant in a pumpkin right there. I just like that item a lot. It's really cute to kind of give some nice texture to an area. And then I just came back down to Callie's house to place down another cute little garden lantern and fill in some of the empty space that I had missed earlier, and then just kind of continue. Look at how I laid down this path. That is why I never used a custom designs app, because literally none of it went where I wanted it to go. So if you struggle with that, I just recommend not doing it. And I don't even know why I do that to myself. Like, I just continue to lay it down knowing that it's just all in the wrong spaces. But anyways, I just grabbed some more flowers because I wanted to finish up this area right here. And so I am going to lay down that ribbon code. I absolutely love that code. It's so perfect and it's really pretty, and it matches the aesthetic that I'm going for in this build. So as we're kind of creeping up to the end of this build, I'm getting really excited to show you all the final walkthrough. I honestly felt so creatively free with this build, and it's one of the favorite areas that I've done on my island. I think it's coming together really nicely, and I didn't really feel like I struggled as much on this area like I did with other builds on my island. But alright, so here is the final walkthrough for Callie's house. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I also really like how it looks at this time in the game, around like 6:40, 7 o'clock. I just feel like the colors of the flowers complement each other really well, and the grass is nice and like that light green color too. But if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I make new videos every week. And other than that, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!